welcome to this week's episode of Tasty Dish. My name is Emily and welcome to my kitchen. So something I've got in store for you guys today, I'm actually going to do a full dinner and dessert for you. The dinner is going to be a braised lamb chop in a red wine reduction sauce. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Along with the lamb chops, I'm going to make asparagus wrapped bacon with crescent rolls. You'll see that soon. As well as my famous mashed potatoes. So I like to make these mashed potatoes a very different way than most people do, mainly because they could be a full dish by themselves, not just a side dish. So another option that we've got for today is we're gonna do a dessert, because after this big meal, you're gonna need something sweet. So we're not gonna go big, we're not gonna do something fancy, we're actually gonna make fudge. You'd be surprised how easy it is to make, and I know a lot of people who just think fudge is this big thing and nobody can make it and it's only specialty shops. Like if you go to like a candy shop in your town, they have the homemade fudge, or you go down to like a shore or something like that, they've got homemade fudge. You can do it from the comfort of your own home while you're wearing sweatpants. It is one of my absolute favorite dishes to make for dessert, and I'm gonna share that with you today. So the actual fudge we're gonna make is Rocky Road. You've got the salty peanuts, you've got the marshmallow and the chocolate. How can you go wrong? You really can't. It's amazing. So a little backstory on this lamb chop dish. So about 2 years ago, my husband and I were kind of, trying to do like a date night every week. And instead of going out, we thought that we would actually do something at home. So we decided every other week we're gonna rotate who was gonna make whose dinner. One week I would cook and we would both eat. The next week he would cook and we would both eat. And it was usually a 3-course meal. We ran across this lamb chop one and we decided to kind of make it our own. As much as the original recipe was delicious, this recipe that I'm about to show you is phenomenal. So I like it because it's really earthy, and we have really good lamb chops. You can get them at any grocery store, most likely. If you can't get them at your grocery store, look for a local butcher. Our butcher is phenomenal. I know where all of his meat comes from, and he's super honest with us about where it is, how old it is, and it's always been really fresh from him. So the lamb chops itself, you get this really good earthy tone from it. Then you add the red wine, which gives you this almost spice. You want a full-bodied red wine for this. And it gives it this beautiful flavor of the bold wine, and this one we have, it was actually aged in oak barrels, so it's really, really good. You have the mashed potatoes, which is always a hit wherever you go as far as I'm concerned. And then again, the bacon wrapped asparagus. That is super simple, and it's going to make such a big hit as well, because one, who doesn't like bacon, who doesn't like crescent rolls, and asparagus is actually a pretty good vegetable if you ask me. So let's go ahead and get to this, and I can't wait to show you guys how wonderful this meal is going to be. So we're going to start with 8 lamb chops. We're going to use 2 total tablespoons of salt, but separate them into each bowl. 3 tablespoons of olive oil, pepper to taste, 1 medium yellow onion, 3 carrots, 4 stalks of celery, 3 tablespoons of garlic. I'm using 2.5 cups of red wine, 1 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, 2 cups of chicken broth, 2 tablespoons of thyme, and then 2 bay leaves that I've put in cheesecloth to keep them together. Now what we're going to do is we are going to pat dry all of the sides of the lamb chops. This takes any extra moisture off of your meat product so that when you put it into a hot pan with olive oil or any kind of oil, there's no splashback, so it kind of remains a safe situation. And we're just going to do this. Now we're going to salt and pepper each side. And I like to rub the salt and pepper in after each side just to make sure that all of the seasoning has adhered to your meat. So we're going to finely dice up the onions, carrots, and tomatoes. If you have some vegetables that aren't necessarily good, you can always just cut around them. I don't like to waste anything, so I'm just going to use the good part of the onion and throw away the bad. So what we're going to do, in a hot pan, we're going to add the 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and we will go ahead and add in small batches the meat to sear both sides. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take each individual lamb chop out of the pan. These have been browned on both sides, and I'm going to add the second batch of lamb chops to the pan and sear those like I did the first batch. Without cleaning the pan, I've gone ahead and added the carrots, celery, and onion, and I'm going to let those wilt down until the onions are translucent and the carrots start to become soft. So now I'm going to add the 2.5 cups of red wine, and I'm going to put this up to about medium to high heat, and I'm going to get all the brown bits and everything off of the bottom of the pan to really bring flavor in as well. So I have the alcohol boiling out of the red wine that's in the pot. I also have the oven preheating at 350 degrees. And at this point, it's going to be that we're going to add everything else that we need inside of the pot. So go ahead and grab your 28 ounces of crushed red tomatoes and put that into the pot. And get everything out as you can. Add your 3 tablespoons of garlic. You can add more or less. I think 3 tablespoons works for this. The rest of the salt. You can add the 2 bay leaves, the 2 tablespoons of thyme, the 2 tablespoons of red tomato paste, and the 2 cups of chicken broth. Once everything is in your pot, go ahead and stir until everything is thoroughly mixed together. So go ahead and grab your lamb and bring that over to where your pot is. And we are going to add every piece of lamb chop that we have seared into your pot. And just be careful dropping it in because everything is hot and you don't want to have any kind of splashback or anything like that. So the oven is preheated to 350 degrees. Place your oven-safe container into the oven for 2 hours. So because this meal is going to be pretty heavy, I've decided that we're going to do something like a Rocky Road fudge. Mainly because it's sweet, it's salty, and you've got marshmallows in it. What more could you want from a dessert? Especially after having what we've just made. The asparagus is going to be phenomenal. The mashed potatoes, I guarantee you, is going to be a home run. And that lamb is going to just send everybody over the moon. So why don't we go ahead and get started. This is all going to be done on the stove, so let's cut to that right now. In the double boiler, we're going to start with 2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips, as well as a 1/4 cup of cold butter. We're going to melt this down until all of the ingredients are smooth and completely mixed together. So now we're going to take a teaspoon of vanilla extract and add this to the already melting chocolate. Okay, so great. We have the chocolate already melted down with the butter, and we're going to add the sweetened condensed milk, and we're just going to make sure that we get all of that in. This is 14 ounces. Just make sure we get it all in there. We're going to add 1 cup of peanuts and 2 cups of marshmallow. I like to kind of stay with name brand marshmallow. I think they tend to taste a lot better. And then we're just going to mix this all together. Make sure you incorporate it all in. What I like to do is the fold technique when working with fudge like this, because it's easier to actually incorporate it all in. That way you kind of scoop up from the sides and bring it in towards the center. And then once we are done, which it looks like we are going to transfer this to a parchment lined dish, which I have right here. Just to give me some room. And then you just pick up and you scoop right in. Now we're just going to level this out without pulling the parchment with it. You just kind of bring it to each corner and make sure it's level throughout. And once you're done, you're going to put this in the refrigerator until dessert. And you can let this sit for up to 3 or 4 days before it starts to kind of get that stale flavor. And you are set and ready to go. So I have already peeled 8 potatoes, and I am simply just cutting them up into smaller pieces. This helps with the cooking process. It takes a lot less time when you are boiling your potatoes. So I'm just going to continue to cut through my potatoes and add them to my pot. You want a pot that would comfortably fit all of your potatoes. It doesn't have to be a ginormous pot. It doesn't have to. If the pot is too small though, you might end up having some issues when it starts to boil. So just keep an eye, use a bigger pan. Bigger pans usually aren't a problem, smaller pans tend to be. So I usually get potatoes in the bag. I don't usually pick them out. I just get anything that is usually on sale, to be honest with you. But as I said, I like to use the russet gold potatoes. It gives a better flavor and a bigger creaminess to your mashed potatoes. So I have gone ahead and cut and diced all of these. I'm going to bring this over to the sink, and I'm only going to put the water in the pot to just barely above the potatoes. That will help cook them quickly, and you're not going to take that much time away from doing anything else. The fun part about this recipe is it's just kind of bacon. Bacon is pretty much where it's been at. bacon has been trending off the charts the last couple of years, which if you ask me is a little bit insane. But what I'm doing right now is I got a crescent roll sheet from the grocery store, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this open. And we're gonna roll this out. I'm sure it doesn't really stick, to be honest with you, because it's hard to kind of pull it out of there if it's stuck to the sides. So gingerly take it out. You can always pinch it together when you get it out, but you just want to kind of put it in as formed as possible. So I'm going to roll this out. Now this is just a sheet. This isn't actually the crescents themselves. They actually do sell it in the sheet form, which is great for recipes like this. So as you roll it out, just see how it looks. If it needs to be pinched together, do that so that it's a little easier for you to use your pizza cutter to pull it apart. So I'm just gonna keep pinching to close everything up because you want it to be as even as possible. All right. So I'm going to take my pizza cutter and I'm going to make 1/2 inch lines. And these 1/2 inch pieces are going to go through the asparagus with the bacon. If it's a little bit more than a 1/2 inch, whatever. I'm not perfect at it. I'm not expecting anybody else to be. But if you can, good on you. So we just go through 1/2 inch at a time, rolling with our pizza cutter. You can use a knife if you want to. I just think a pizza cutter is easier because it kind of mainlines and streamlines the whole process. Okay, great. So I have thick cut bacon right next to me, and we can move this all over just a little bit. I have already lobbed off the bottom parts of the asparagus that you do not want. You kind of want to stay away from the white of the asparagus. And we'll go ahead and take the rubber band off that. And then with the bacon that you have, you want it about that thin, and it's a pretty thick cut piece. You're just going to wrap it around the asparagus. And it is as easy and as simple as that, okay? And then you're going to take a piece of your crescent roll and just with the other side, do the same thing as it becomes unwound. See, I'm not even perfect. I told you guys I wasn't. So I'm just going to wrap that around. So I've gone ahead and I've finished wrapping all of the asparagus with bacon and the croissant dough. What I did is I melted 2 tablespoons of butter and then added a dash or 2 of garlic to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint the mixture of butter and garlic over the asparagus, and that will kind of give it a little bit more flavor. Not that this isn't going to be flavorful enough, but I like garlic. What can I say? I put it on anything I can. And this is just a quick run across the dough and bacon with it. You don't really want to spend too much time on it because it doesn't really need all of that. All right, we can go ahead and put that in the oven. It's for 30 minutes at 400 degrees. So the mashed potatoes are done. I have boiled them, drained them, and I've put them in a bowl. And my secret to mashed potatoes is actually when you've got hot mashed potatoes, you want to add sour cream. I'm going to start with about 1/4 of a cup. I might work up to 1/2 cup depending on how I want the consistency to look. And it's really all personal preference on that. You don't want it too thick, you don't want it too thin. You want to have it how you like your mashed potatoes. Not everybody likes them the same way. So I'm going to go ahead and add some chopped green onion. I like a lot of chopped green onion in mine. If you don't like chopped green onion, don't add it. So you're going to use about 1.5 cups of sharp cheddar, shredded cheese. It just melts better inside of the mashed potatoes. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I usually use about 1.5 cups, but you can use more. And then you just want to add pepper to it as well. All right, so let's get our mixer ready. Everything's done and it's on the plate ready to go and be served. I think this is one of the better recipes that I'm going to be putting out there, to be honest with you. Every week I seem to do something a little bit bigger and better through the previous one. So let's go ahead and taste everything that's got going on. I have the asparagus with the bacon and the crescent roll, the mashed potatoes, and of course the main dish, the lamb. So let's go ahead and crack it and see how it is. Oh my gosh, it's so tender. This is incredible. Okay, hold on. You get the thyme, you get the bay leaf, you get a real kick of red wine. And it's not like an alcoholic red wine. It's the flavor profiles of the red wine that you use. And you could taste the lamb, and it's so powerful and just so delicious and very tender. I mean, it's literally falling apart on my fork. It's absolutely amazing. Good choice. So the asparagus, bacon, and the crescent roll, pretty much a meal in one if you ask me. The best part about it is you don't have to eat the roll on the side. You're literally kind of having a one-stop meal on that. And of course the mashed potatoes. I don't think these need gravy. If you want to add gravy, be more than my guest to do it. But they're creamy, cheesy, and the kick of onion just makes them phenomenal. Absolutely perfect. So the Rocky Road fudge is ready to go. I've pulled it out of the fridge. You just want to let it set until it's done, and you just kind of like put your finger on it just to see how it's done. So we'll go ahead and pull this up out of our dish. We'll put that dish aside. And we'll just pull this off. Oh my god, this looks so good, guys. So good. Wonderful. Go ahead and just toss that to the side. Flip this over. There it is. Fudge is ready to go. So you could cut this however you want. Since I'm going to be sharing it with some people, I'm going to cut it in smaller pieces. And a 7-inch chef's knife should work pretty sufficiently for this. My pieces got bigger towards the end, so same there. Alright, so I've got the first cut done. Oh, look at this. This looks absolutely amazing. You've got the nuts and the marshmallow and the fudge. So we're going to do a close-up shot for you in just one moment. So this is delicious, and you can see the nuts and the marshmallow and the fudge all together. Oh, this is gonna be delicious. I can't wait to taste it. Mmm. It's the perfect amount of sweet for after a meal like that. Mmm. So good. I almost feel like you should add like caramel to it. That would be awesome. You can also add maybe just a little bit of salt to it and see how that goes. Guys, I think I'm onto something here. This is absolutely phenomenal. I hope you guys enjoyed. So let's go ahead and say goodnight for today. I enjoyed having you guys here. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification bell to the side of it. Make sure you like, comment, and share this video with your friends and family. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I'll talk to you soon.